Good morning, everybody. Zen Witch here, drinking my coffee. I never shoot in the morning. I shoot in the afternoon or evening, and but lately I've been sewing masks, and I've been getting up and doing away with my morning activities as quickly as possible to go down and sew. And I'll think, oh, I'm gonna, shoot video later, and by the time I've put in hours of sewing, I'm done. So I thought I'll flip things around today and shoot in the morning. And what I'm noticing during this quarantine is that my schedule is really radically rearranging itself to the things that I really, really want to do. And I'm finding that the thing that is going to go by the wayside for the sewing and the shooting to happen the way I want them to is fucking Facebook. I'm spending less time on the Facebook, which is good for my anxiety as well. So, cheers. Usually I'm drinking water, but oh, my first sip of coffee. And it's yesterday was Easter Sunday. And so I've been eating a lot of sugar, and I've got freaking Samsonite luggage under my eyes. So forgive the pillows. Here's my pillows. Damn. Anyhow, it's Friday. It's an Oracle unboxing, and I'm starting a series because I have, I think, at least four of her decks on Lucy Cavendish. Lucy Cavendish has some wonderful decks, and there's a whole group of them there where the artwork is done by Jasmine Becket-Griffith with these large eyes, very stylized and really beautiful. And each one of these decks is special. This one is particularly special to me because it's the first deck that I got off of A Libris, which is a used book site. And, they partner with used bookshops all over the place, and you find great deals, just great deals. And I have to say that this deck behaves like a gift deck. And I thought, when you buy them used, there's kind of a random chance aspect of it in that somebody else has had to decide to let go of that deck and put it up for sale somewhere, and then that made it available to me. Anyway, I can spin things any way you want me to spin them. I am a witch after all. But it makes kind of sense that this would behave like a gift deck because it certainly does. It's frickin' alive. So let's dig in. Oracle of the Shapeshifters, Lucy Cavendish, artwork by Jasmine Becket-Griffith. This is copyright 2011 and 2013 through Simon & Schuster. Oracle of the Shapeshifters, Beyond Worlds, Simon Pulse. How many different publishing names do we need? We've got SimonandSchuster.com, and it's Beyond Worlds / Simon Pulse, an imprint of Simon & Schuster Children's Publishing Division. Children's Publishing. And yes, I can see that. Some of her other decks, as I will do these all in a row, that you will see are definitely made for the younger. But you know what? That's a really good thing, being a reader as well, because child mind holds a hell of a lot of wisdom. And sometimes we can get, if we're writing for adults, we can just get a little too cerebral and not, enough on the intuitive side. But this deck has got it on all fronts. So let's take a look. Nice box. Guidebook that we will look at in a mo. The backs of the cards. Oh, I didn't look at the back here, which is upside down. Mystic Familiars for Times of Transformation and Change. It's 45 cards, 176-page guidebook. Sometimes we change unbeknown to ourselves. We look different from moment to moment, hour to hour. We change form as we mature. And sometimes we change form due to our own intervention as we seek to become on the outside the person we feel we are on the inside. You now hold in your hands a treasury of great secrets. Within are messages from magical familiars, once the companions of shamans, witches, wizards, and wise ones. And now they are here for you. These mystical allies possess the hidden knowledge of shapeshifting, camouflage, invisibility, and metamorphosis. They are ready to share their honest and truly instinctual guidance for personal and planetary times of transition. These trustworthy companions will lend you their courage, help you make fresh discoveries, spark your creativity, and teach you to develop abilities to adapt and change, not only for survival, but in order to thrive and find peace, joy, accomplishment, and satisfaction in a changing world. With a 176-page guidebook by Lucy Cavendish revealing the history, legends, lore, and magic of the Shapeshifters, including practical spreads for accurate readings and stunning art by Jasmine Becket-Griffith, the Oracle of the Shapeshifters is truly a unique and empowering deck. Prepare to undertake a great quest. So I like that they're talking about the whole theme of the deck being change and the ability to change and metamorphosis. And that is reflected on the backs of the cards here. We have a frog with wings. We have frogs with wings. And I've never really looked, that's so funny because using this deck, I've glanced at the back of it and just seen butterflies. So again, I love doing this series because it really makes me encounter my decks at a deeper level and not just at the level of being a collection. So that's awesome. And I want to say, the importance of being a shapeshifter and being able to change. If you don't know anything about neuro-linguistic programming, look it up. Neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. It is a branch of hypnotherapy, and the cardinal rule of NLP is the person with the greatest capacity for change wins. Always. So here we go. We start off with Wolf Moon, and when I got this deck, and my daughter had already gotten me, I think it was, I'm not sure which one it was, but she had already gotten me a Lucy Cavendish deck. And sorry, I haven't blown the carbon out of the pipes yet this morning. You can tell because my voice is in the basement. I've always been a low alto. Anyway, she got me this deck, and then I bought this one. She got me another deck. And when I opened it up, it flipped me out because this is my daughter. I mean, it is my daughter. First of all, she is a wolf girl. There's no two ways about it. And for her, I think it was 16th birthday, might have been 21st, I can't quite remember. I did henna on her right here, right on her chest here, and it was exactly this. I mean, exactly that. A wolf print. And I opened this up and just went, holy shit, that's her. Wolf Moon, I will watch over you. And then the next card is my son, who's a fox. And yes, it shows a female there, but that's my son, Kitsune. I will show you whom to trust. And so, again, with her decks, one of the things that I love about this and other decks is when there's a key phrase, when there's a name, and then there's a phrase, because it really jogs your own intuition. I will show you whom to trust. Little Red Riding Hood, I am not a victim. Look at the wolf there. And the artwork is just adorable and beautiful and intense. And I love, love, love Jasmine Becket-Griffith. Brother Raccoon, a safe place for you to go. So we have representation of other cultures here. The butterfly ferrets, I am reborn. And you notice these are animal totems, but they have human familiars. The fairy bee, my life is sweet. Just look at, how the eyebrows look like antenna. They're just so sweet. Whoops. Bats in the belfry. You can achieve great things. Did I read that one? My life is sweet, yes. Sorry, you can tell the way I am before I've had all my coffee. So I'm going to keep drinking. Ah, is there anything as good as that first coffee in the morning? Beauty and the Beast, you need some space in a relationship. And think about how good these are for young people. You know, for young adults or for adolescents to be hearing things like this, you need some space in a relationship. Snow White and her animal friends, you inspire trust and confidence. Hedgehog love, positive, uplifting new friends. Look how adorable she is. I love the style. And it might make people not take this so seriously because there is a youthfulness about it, but I just adore it. Alice in a Sea of Tears, cast away out of your depth, feeling abandoned. So we've got a reference to Alice in Wonderland there. The Golden Phoenix, something you thought finished bursts back into life. A time to say goodbye, something is about to end for now. Interesting that 13 is the death card in the tarot. I glanced because it's like, well, that's totally a death card. And it's number 13. Miss Spiderweb, reconsider your alliances, make new connections. Your imaginary friend, childhood treasures resurface. So again, speaking to people who have not yet lost touch with their imaginary friend. Maybe they're just outgrowing that and into, you know, the next phase of life of adolescence, and this is a call back to that. So this can be a great bridge deck from, you know, being a child into being an intuitive adult. Deep dark sea mermaid, find solutions in the unknown places in the darkness. A beautiful little worm, take care of yourself. And then there's little wolf girl. So this is my daughter as well. It is all right to be alone. She's a lone wolf type too. She definitely has to have people around her. She's a carer, but she's also very powerful and potent and Plutonian. So we don't get lots and lots of friends in this lifetime. Dragonfly mermaid, you've attracted wonderful news. Elizabeth and the Lion. So this one comes from actual history. It is time to become a great leader. Frog Princess, heed wise counsel, listen. Butterflies in gloom, after sadness, happiness and hope return. So while there's a youthfulness about it, it's not cotton candy, you know. It's not childish. It's not cartoony. It's not talking down to the young, which drives me insane. And I'll tell you something. When I was raising my kids, and we homeschooled until my son was 7 and went into 2nd grade, and so that was a lot of years. 12 years, I think, is what we homeschool. Anyway, you know, I'm a musician and family of musicians, and I would go looking for music for when the kids were little, and I really detest music that is for kids, that uses cheesy instruments and sounds dopey and childish. Give kids real music. You know, I found these wonderful Putumayo recordings and lullaby recordings and things where it's just really good world music. And, you know, if it's got the groove, it's got kid appeal. And so I appreciate that these decks, though possibly targeted at a younger audience, are not pandering and demeaning in the way they are written. Quetzalcoatl and the Priestess of Time. The time has come. The time to act is now. The Delicate Fairy and her ferrets. Change is natural, good, and yes, it can hurt. The Mermaid and the Turtle. An elder will teach you. And look at that. Pose brave flight. You will not let fear stop you this time. 2 kittens you must choose. Oh, what a terrible choice. Strange companions in stranger places. Challenges, use your imagination. Let's get a little bit sharper there. Oh, Oh, I think I'm about to throw coffee on my camera because there we go. It's not awake. Fiona and the Unicorn, the Gift of Sacred Sight. Look at her little horns. The Black Cat, Lost Magic, Atonement, Rebalance. Once Upon a Midnight Dreary. Creativity, genius, writing, expression, artistic flow. So we've got a couple references to Poe there. Artemis of the Forest. Now you are independent and free. A loyal guardian, a magical protector is there for you. And look at that, a twist in the tale. The unexpected, a change you did not see coming. And look how wonderful that the artist picked up on that and really made it so you go through this deck and this one jumps out at you. Everything else is very dark. And you come here and it's an unexpected change, literally. Lovely. You are unlike anyone else. Your contradictions and complexities are interesting. The unending sadness of looking back. Endless regret, obsessive grief, replaying the past, negative nostalgia. Negative nostalgia. This is a form of self-torture. After my first divorce, I used to do this. Sit around looking at the wedding pictures and cry. And my roommate said, I'm going to take those fucking things away from you. And it kind of woke me up that I was just self-torturing with sadness. The ecstasy of sadness, the ecstasy of grief. Think about those words. The Fairy Ring. New skills, advanced training, rapid improvements. Sacred Beetle Armor. I love her. I love her face. You have a mighty shield. Little Olwen, wisdom as light as a feather. Look at the owl. I love her little owl horns and her little fairy peak. They're just so adorable. Little brother, little sister, siblings, younger friends, responsibility. Mermaid in a koi pond. Rediscover your individuality, become the dragon. Snake Princess, the serpentine path to power. Orca Magic, the Akashic Libraries open. The Mermaid of Immersion, complete commitment. Dragonling Garden, a new world is born. She was featured in a reading I did for the April full moon of 2020. And then we're back to the beginning. So let's ask for one of these, and then we will look at the book. Ask for a little message this morning. I'm going to go through 3 times. Oh boy, here we go. Okay. I've got 2 that have flipped themselves out. One landed on the floor, the other one went face up. So we will take a look. And they're number 24 and 25. So they flipped out together. So, guidebook. And there's a quote from the Velveteen Rabbit in the beginning about what it takes to become real. It doesn't happen all at once, said the Skin Horse. You become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't happen often to people who break easily or have sharp edges or who have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off and your eyes drop out and you get loose in your joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all because once you are real, you can't be ugly except to people who don't understand. So definitely ringing bells for a younger set. Introduction to the Oracle of the Shapeshifters, Mystic Familiars for Times of Transformation and Change. All meaning and lasting change starts first in your imagination and then works its way out. Albert Einstein. That's a very concise description of magic. Going through the elements. Starts with an idea, an imagination, an inspiration. It's got to come down through the senses and through your body to manifest. And there's a long introduction here, which I shall not read. Who you will meet within this world. There's a quote from Walt Whitman. Okay. So there are, they talk about animals teaching. Animals teach the witch, the shaman, the scientist, the poet, the saint, and the child. They save us from the dreadful human loneliness we've created by believing we are separate. They are our kin, and they will guide us back into communion with the entire world and its miracles. They're here within this deck in their shapeshifter form so they can merge with you for a time and teach you their secrets to living wisely upon this blessed blue and green planet. Among the many creatures of this in-between realm, you will encounter these. And then they talk about deer, cat, wolf, dragonfly, butterfly, beetle, wild bee, bat, owl, raven, rabbit, hare, fox, fairy, and whale. These beings and many more are within the pages of this secret book. So she talks about these things in a more general context. Let's look at, for instance, owl. For women, seeing owls means receiving specifically the wisdom of Blodeuwedd. Blodeuwedd. I've heard Blodeuwedd too. A fairy goddess and queen of the Celts who shapeshifts from flowers during the day to an owl at night. Remember the shadow aspect of owls. They are fierce hunting birds of the night. Honor both the shadow and the light. Keep the balance. Rabbit means fertility and herald in... Rabbits mean fertility and herald in Ostara, the Nordic goddess of love and new life, for whom Easter is named. It's a time for sensual enjoyment and spring energy. So rabbits and hares and beetles and butterflies, and she just talks. So you're sort of internalizing what these totems are in general, rather than the specific meaning in each card. And then we have here. Let's go back. Okay, so there's the animals. How the shapeshifters can be of assistance. Relationship changes, physical changes, intellectual transformations, evolutionary changes, knowing where to go, undertaking acts of change and courage, facing a test that frightens or challenges you deeply. There's what holds you back from evolution, forming a sacred alliance with the shapeshifters. So this is not talking down at all. I really, really like this deck. It talks about a quote from Sigmund Freud, time spent with cats is never wasted. I would agree there. Lucy's shape-shifting vision. Is he quite safe? Safe, said Mr. Beaver. Who said anything about safe? Of course he isn't safe, but he's good. He's the king, I tell you. And that's a quote from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. C.S. Lewis. Some of my favorite books ever. Human cells and change. Imagination and positive change. More Albert Einstein. Your imagination is your preview of life's coming attractions. The self you tell the self you tell yourself you are is not your only self. Do I contradict myself? Very well, then I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes. Walt Whitman, Song of Myself. So some great quotes and introductions to some great authors here. How to work with the Oracle of the Shapeshifters. What's the purpose of the Oracle? How to approach the Shapeshifters. Hold the question in your mind. Know that you're going into the place in between. The world between the worlds. Know that while change is challenging, it's the stuff of a meaningful life. Card spreads to connect, divine, and communicate. There's simple past, present, future. There's air, fire, water, earth. It's funny, air east is at the top, fire south is here. Why don't we do... That's silly. Why don't you lay it out like a map? North, south, east, and west. Oh, well. So we've got the senses, or the elements. It's early. I haven't even had my whole cups of coffee before. This one, the Changeling's Journey spread. Who am I now? What will I learn next? There will be a challenge. What part of me must die in order that all may live? What's my soul's wisdom? Who loves me? Where will my abundance and prosperity spring forth from? What do the shapeshifters wish me to do? To keep going, what must I do? The arrival. Where will I be? How will I feel? The card of my destiny. Oh, there's only 11. Interesting. Then we have Finding Your Familiar spread. Card 1 is Instinct. Card 2 is Wisdom Animal Guide. 3 represents the familiar who watches over and directs you. in regard to potential and possibilities. 4 is the card of your heart animal. 5 is your life familiar. That would be interesting. The animal chakra spread. Leaping cards. Every now and again, one of the shapeshifters and walkers between the worlds within this deck will wish to deliver a message you didn't ask about. This will result in the most magical spread of all, the leaping card. While shuffling, a mystic familiar may fly forth from the deck, giving you a strong message to look and pay attention. Sometimes after laying cards out, one may even spin or turn. They are reaching for you. Honor this connection by listening, and you honor yourself. This is wonderful. Questions you may have. Can I read shapeshifters for others? You can. So I'm not going to read. How often can I read for myself? How do I use the information in the guidebook's entry? And then we get to the cards themselves. So let's go to 24 and 25. And I'm already at 25 minutes. I'm looking at the clock, and you know what? I don't care. Okay, more coffee. The delicate fairy and her ferrets. Change is natural, good, and yes, it can hurt. So remember the quote I gave you at the beginning of the person with the greatest capacity for change wins, always. So with each card, we have about the card, we have the card speaks, and then we have divination. About the delicate fairy and her ferrets. Let's put her... She came out. She hit the floor. Sometimes the transition between one cycle or stage and another is easy, fluid, flowing, and smooth. At other times it is rough, harsh, cruel, and painful. It is inevitable that, if we are truly alive, we will experience discomfort and challenges when confronted by the unfamiliar. This is no curse. It is evidence of wisdom being taught to us, but we need not face these times alone. You are a wise and canny companion, just as these sweet ferrets are for their friend the fairy. The fairy will not be allowed to be passive. She will be taught to be stronger, to care less for the differences between herself and others, and to step into her power. Until she can do this more fully, more of the time, her magical companions will use their claws, their sense for danger, and their wily cleverness to help lead her through fear and into achievement. And if you've ever held a ferret, they're liquid. They slip through things, so slipping through change like a ferret. You just, flow with the curves like water. The delicate fairy and her ferrets speak. We change, we alter ourselves, we adapt, we choose, we become. You are now being shown a way and the gifted magical tools to strengthen yourself while you develop your skills. You are also being sent a trusted companion to guide you through the deep forests of change. You feel very vulnerable and there's fear in your heart, but why would there not be? Life is full of transitions, shifts, and epic moments when we can choose between our best self and the tired, conditioned, most often defeated self. In these times of change, there is no map, no guidebook, no previous knowledge to comfortably fall back on. And the divination is one cycle has ended. When a cycle changes, or when we choose to create change courageously by challenging our limited self-beliefs, questioning our attachments to truths, or releasing our attachment to the way in which our lives should manifest, we are, either by choice or by contract, undergoing an initiation. I'm going to do a separate video on initiation. All initiations are in some way difficult because they ask us to step out of our comfort zone and into the new, the unfamiliar, and the unexpected in order to expand the self. A new friend, advisor, or piece of information will empower you. You must now shift the focus from what you fear to what you wish to become and face what it is that is frightening you needlessly. It will not kill you. It might hurt a bit, but results will make it worth it. Okay. Next one is the mermaid and the turtle. An elder will teach you. About the mermaid and the turtle, it is highly unlikely that a literal experienced tribal elder will step forward in garb of feather and bone to guide you today. Though such beings can appear in vision and in disguise as shapeshifters, they can become almost anyone. So while it may seem that there is no witch with her cauldron of transformation at the ready, no green man to take you into the deep beneath of the underworld and help you to be reborn, there are ancient ones who are ready to teach you the deep knowledge of the planet and her oceans, and they come to you in many ways. At this time it is the turtles who will speak with you, letting you know of your very old soul, and whispering words that reawaken knowledge that is deep in the blood and the bones of the mother seas. The goddess Sedna may also be speaking to you of her journey from a victim to a being who gave the gift of creation to the creatures of the deep oceans. Her pain was transformed, and with this new knowledge you too will transform your wounds and losses into wonders, knowledge, and imaginations that bring you closer to a true reality we all live in as the world changes again. So another thing that I like is she's giving pronunciations after every goddess name. So well done. The mermaid, it's such a simple thing and so important. You know, people want to do their best, and sometimes you feel intimidated to name a goddess or something because you're not sure you're saying it right. And there's also a vibration to that name. You know, back when these names were discovered, I was going to say created, but discovered, there's a vibration to them. And the names have been uttered for so many thousands of years that, you know, you want to ring that bell and ring it right and true. The mermaid and turtle speak. Although I, the turtle, am a newborn, I have lived lifetimes. I have come through to teach this young one who is both the land and the sea. Of both the land and the sea. There are lessons she must understand in order to be of any benefit in this world. She has been a good student of life, and she has earned the right to have the ancient wisdom imparted to her now. I will teach, if she will listen and become receptive. The deep lessons will be hers. Others will gather around and try to overhear the secrets I share with her, but the knowledge is for her. Soon she will have initiations and teachings in sacred practice. Until then, she must listen well to the very old ones, for they know the shape of the future. And I want to say something else here, because it really comes into sharp focus reading that this is an all-female deck. And I think it acknowledges that the vast, vast majority of people going for decks are female. And I don't know that that's should be the case. I don't know that everyone with an intuitive impulse is female. I know it's the feminine side that connects with the deep well, and I know we all have feminine within us. So I would love to see decks that are specifically echoing the male and, you know, specifically targeted to, I mean, we've got to invite this whole half of humanity into the intuitive side and into goddess consciousness and their own God consciousness, and not that God, you know. Time for change. Anyway, divination. So, you know, I wouldn't call that a fault with this deck, but it is certainly an exclusivity that doesn't need to be. Divination. In order to grow, we must experience transitions and changes. To be fully alive, we must die again and again, all in this lifetime. While we have many rituals for birthdays and religious holidays, we often yearn for the depth of the rituals of the old days, during which part of us would die and another part of us would spring to life, and we would be reborn and renewed. Transitions into adulthood and changing your home or vocation were honored, marked, and witnessed in unique ways that gave us permission to own our power in the next stage of our wonderful, meaningful lives. You are now about to celebrate life's great shifts in more meaningful ways. No more just being a follower, you become an initiator, because you have listened to the wise words of the oldest creature on the planet, the one who carries Gaia on her back. If you have listened well, your every action will be an offering back to Earth, a ritual, and you will nourish and help heal her. You are about to enter into a real relationship with the cycles of the planet, and you will be asked to observe these respectfully thanks to the teaching of an elder. A mentor, elder, or other wise one will instruct you at this time, but she may come in the form of a young person. Listen, choose this person well. Your mentor must be a good teacher. Indigenous ancestral practices of your bloodline and spirit line are being reclaimed. Very interesting. And I also want to acknowledge that teachers often don't know they are teachers. When I went to college, and I started college at 31 years old, and I had already been initiated. I had already been initiated and was solidly on the path of magic and witchcraft. And many professors taught me witchcraft. They had no idea they were teaching me that. But this is what it means when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. It's not that a teacher who is consciously aware of being a teacher shows up and says, "Ha, you just let me know that you're a student and I'm appearing to teach you." There's sometimes is not an awareness of the teacher-student relationship. But when the student is ready, the mind has opened for wisdom and information, and the context is ready for the wisdom to land. So initiation and becoming a student and stepping consciously on the path means your mind is opening to wisdom, and that wisdom is everywhere. It's everywhere. It's in nature, it's in weather, it's in animals, it's in your own children, it's in your family, it's in teachers, it's in people that you work with. It's everywhere. When you're ready for it, the wisdom comes through many different teachers. So that's a lovely card too, that an elder will appear. And an elder just means somebody that knows more than you do, really. You know, I mean, I remember when I realized I'd gotten older than my mother emotionally. And, you know, being the elder in my family just because of the work that I did before anybody. So, lovely, lovely deck. It is very, I mean, it really does speak. When I've done oracle readings for myself and the cards fly out, they're very good. So, you know, for the times, I would say, yes, the changes we're going through right now are painful. They're definitely painful, but it's causing me to rearrange my schedule so that I can do the things that are really important. And fucking Facebook isn't really important. It's important to check in, you know, see what's going on, and, you know, say hi to friends. And it's an amazing touchstone, but it was taking up too much of my day. Way too much of my day, because it's a time eater. So this change, even though my lifestyle really hasn't changed in that I always was home-based, my business has always been home-based, but I lacked focus. Before this pandemic hit, I really lacked focus, and I was spending a lot of my time on Facebook. And yes, I was doing my channel, but sort of feeling drifty, and I hadn't sewn for a long time, and I knew I wanted to get some project going, and I just was uninspired. And then the pandemic hit, and I started sewing masks, and now I'm on a mission. And as it took time away from my channel, now I have to edit something else out in order to give you guys the time I want to give you, and that thing is staring at a screen and looking at fucking Facebook. So there it is, the Shapeshifters deck. I hardly recommend all of Lucy Cavendish's stuff. And we will do, I'm going to do some of her decks with Jasmine Becket-Griffith, and then I will throw in the other ones that I have different artists that are very, very much different decks. Same writer, very different artist, very different feel. And I'm sure that two-way street happens there too, where the writer says, I want cards for these, and based on what the artist is coming up with imagery-wise, that is going to trigger new wells of wisdom and target a new audience. And, you know, it's a symbiosis, and it's a turning wheel of relationship, and it's a wonderful thing. I love cards, and I really like doing this first thing in the morning when my brain is a little bit fresher. Time for some more coffee, and then I'll be shooting some more. This has been a longie. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like and subscribe. And happy heckin' Friday, and I will see you on Monday with another unboxing of a tarot. Until then, this is the Zen Witch. Blessed be.